The German pavilion is devoted to British artist Liam Gillick. For months, the work he'd be showing was kept top secret. But now, the cat is out of the bag.
Venice in April 2009, and a month before the opening. Construction of the exhibit in the German pavilion is almost complete. But the key figure in the artwork does not yet live up to its creator's vision.
Cats have big mouths, but they don't normally show it. When they're resting, the mouths disappear completely. And when our cat is resting, it's still got a big mouth, and so that's what makes it look idiotic.
But what is a big-mouthed cat doing here? And why is a Briton showcased in the German pavilion? It has to do with the fact that the Federal Republic of Germany turns 60 this year. And it was the idea of the pavilion's curator, Nicolaus Schafhausen.
I thought about which artist dealt with history best, with the past and also with the future and the present. And after the choice for the last show 2 years ago, Is Agensken, I could only think of Liam Gillick. Especially in 2009, in this super anniversary year for Germany. Perhaps it isn't such a bad idea to present an outsider's view, the view of a non-German on German history.
German history lies heavy on the pavilion, built in 1909 and rebuilt by the Nazis who misused it for ideological purposes. Many German artists have tried to remedy this since the war, including Hans Haacke, who in 1993 smashed up the floor to create a fractured monument to his homeland.
I was very tempted to call Hans and say, do you want to come with me and we'll finish the job? And it would just be a simple artwork that we just dig up the rest of the floor that Hitler and Mussolini or whoever walked upon.
The German pavilion is difficult to work in and work with, also for a Briton.
As an architecture, it carries so much symbolic weight of history, but in another way, it's completely banal. It's got this kind of almost church-like quality of a central room and 4 side rooms. For someone that plays with architecture so much, I've got to find a way to just work with the building without hiding what it is.
New York's Guggenheim Museum, an architectural icon. Here, too, it's difficult for art to compete with the building. Liam Gillick designed a special signage system for a group exhibition here in 2008.
I wanted to try and find a kind of point that would be somewhere in between clearly making a work for an exhibition and somehow playing with the building or playing with the situation. So in a way, it's definitely signage. Right? So some of it's very, very straightforward. It will say information here or unisex toilet or something like this. And of course, some of it is also much more difficult to understand. There is no obvious logic. It's a kind of psychological guide to the place or the space.
Now Gillick mostly lives and works in New York. He designs, writes, films, curates, and composes. But for him, these constitute a whole. He always carries a camera because he prefers to record his own work, which is about architecture and design, about the conditions for work and production, and the ideology of the constructed world. It's no wonder, then, that he finds the German pavilion something of a challenge. His solution? A giant kitchen cutting right through the building.
Originally, I had this idea to turn the place into an enormous kitchen, and I thought this could be a very, in a way, it's a modest gesture in some level. In another level, the kitchen is the kind of battleground of modernism, in a way, and it's the other modernism that's not formalist painting or neo-avant-garde art. It's the other battleground.
A modernism that would have been banned from the pavilion during the Third Reich. The prototype, known as the Frankfurt kitchen, was the first built-in kitchen from the 1920s, designed by Margarete Schütte-Lihotzky.
The idea would be you would have time to work, you would have a degree of freedom. It was a sincere belief, and what I wanted to do was somehow use this idea of the kitchen as a way to, in a way, to make a kind of anti-fascist gesture.
And in this reminiscence of modernism sits the cat that speaks.
There will be a cat that can speak. All the people of the town will be very proud of their speaking cat. People will come every day to hear what it has to say.
In this place, I wanted to have a voice of authority that could describe some problems or questions, artistically, historically, psychologically, socially, without it being didactic.
There will have been a point when it had been touched and loved and played with. Now all people will want to know is its position on the history of totalitarian architecture.
Of course, it's a very evocative image. If you look in the Coventry or you're in Dresden and you see the devastated city, there's a cat that's tiptoeing through the rubble. The cat, for me in this case, is something that has seen a lot, seen everything, and been here and been in the garden when there have been all these strange historical moments.
The problem of the big mouth is solved by stuffing it with paper. But the title remains. How are you going to behave? A kitchen cat speaks.